So let's make a recap and let's look at the other line which we haven't looked at. Knight c6, knight c3, knight f6, take e4. Okay, take the knight, takes, and now e5 is the crucial move unless we want to get crushed. d5, knight b8, knight f3 attacking the pawn, bishop d6 developing. And now we need to see these two options, but we're going to see both of them in one line. Well, in a couple of lines, bishop g5 or bishop to b5 check. Both of them are going to encounter the same move. So if bishop g5 comes, you just play f6, the bishop will be forced back to something like e3. So let's go first of all through bishop b5 check. The white player might be exploiting the control of the square c6. We can't really push c6. I mean, we can, but we'll get an isolated pawn. Black's best move is knight d7 for the simple reason that you want to play bishop knight to c5. And if bishop takes, then you get to continue the game with the bishop pair with absolutely no compensation for white. Bishop to g5 now. Okay, that's how you deal with this. Also because you haven't castled yet, so you can't play queen e8. f6 is perfectly safe to play. Bishop to e3. Okay, castle, castle. And now knight to c5. So let's look at something that we haven't seen yet. Bishop going back to d3. To protect the pawn in e4, and let's see if the white player is happy to give us the bishop pair for this very strong knight. Well, the answer is yes, we do take that bishop. And now we carry on. Black continue, guess what, with the usual plan, f5. That's how it's always going to be. Bishop g5 back. Here we simply play queen to e8 and you know exactly what to do. And here there's a trap set. If white plays rook to e1, any other move basically, f4, you've seen this pattern before, you must know this pattern. Here you're winning the bishop no matter what. It's impossible for the bishop to get safe. There's no way to go back, maybe play h3, no, because you'll be going to g3. So you have to play h6, g5 and you're winning a piece. So rook f1 is not possible. If the bishop at this point goes back to c1, this is the best engine move apparently. But obviously, pawn takes in e4, queen takes back, it's a fork, so the queen has to take back, bishop f5 developing. Queen to e2, for instance. This is terrible because queen to h5. And we have a simple idea of playing bishop to g4, taking everything, winning the pawn, smashing the pawn structure, and that should be an easy winning endgame. There are no tricks here. Obviously, h3 is not possible because you can just take it for free. Pawn takes back, and then you have a double attack with the knight. A move like knight to d4 doesn't work, because you can simply play bishop to g4 with an attack on the queen, whilst the attack on h2 remains. So now there's an attack on the queen. If white moves the queen, you can take the knight for free. If f3 coming with an attack on the bishop and then on a queen, you can just take the knight. And now pawn takes bishop is not possible due to checkmate in h2. And in this position, after bishop f5, if queen to f3, obviously avoiding the whole pinning situation. Black goes on with rook f6. The idea now is to push e4, and black has a great advantage. The knight can't really move because you have queen h5 idea. Attacking h2, you also have the support of the rook. The white player will be forced to sacrifice material. So what happens in this position if white plays knight to h4? Attacking the bishop, kind of stopping all of our plans at the same time. This is the best move. Black saves the bishop with bishop g4. We didn't give our lovely knight in c5 for the bishop and win the bishop pair so that we could give it away for no reason. f3 attacking the bishop, bishop to d7. We're not giving up our initiative here. If anything, this knight is now misplaced. Go on. White plays, let's say, rook to b1, attacking his pawn and protecting and developing the rook, obviously. Black plays b6, threatening to win the game immediately. Queen to h5 is too strong to meet. White is going to have the pawn structure completely damaged. Well, the king is going to be very exposed after g3. If white plays queen to g5, desperate for swap. Queen to f7 comes now. White pieces are completely harmless. Black has a plan of playing rook to e8 here. And then h6 to remove the queen away from that square. And then we can go back to h5 attacking the knight and forcing g3. So just to make an example, when we were hearing queen to h5, if White doesn't play queen h5, queen g5 now, but it plays it later. You're going to play h6 as we've seen here. If white plays g3 to protect the knight, bishop to h3 attacking the rook. The king is more exposed than ever. Rook to g1 saving the rook. Doesn't work because bishop c5 is a skewer, wins material as you can see. So let's do everything from the start one more time so I can close this video and see one thing that we haven't looked at. So e4, take, e5, crucial move, d5, knight b8, knight f3, bishop d6. And we're looking at the line with bishop d5, immediate check. Okay, knight d7. Bishop g5 is met with f6. Earlier we went through bishop e3 and more or less what happens next. What happens after bishop to h4? Keeping the pin on this pawn, reducing our plan of playing f5. Well, we're not gonna be stopped from playing that. Castle, castle. Okay, queen e8 now, and that means that we will be able to play the plan of f pawn. See how easy it is to learn? So after bishop to g3 now, the pin is no longer making any sense for the white bishop. Bishop to g3, a6 attacking the bishop. So obviously we're happy if our knight gets taken. Our knight is happy, remember, our knight is happy to get swapped with this light square bishop. Bishop a4, okay, b5. Bishop b3, okay, knight c5, attacking the bishop. And now we're attacking the pawn, so that means that the plan of knight h4, knight e5 cannot be played because this is a safe pawn to take. Queen e2 defending that pawn, okay, bishop d7, develop. Knight to h4, plan the idea of going to f5, okay, take the bishop first, pawn takes back. And now here's what we like to do. Here we're going to produce a pass pawn. a4 produces a pass pawn no matter what. And it's a safe thing to do. Knight to f5, just take it. Pawn takes back, and now a4. That's it. We're going to be able to go to a3. Take, no problem. It's an isolated pawn now, but it's still okay. White has now no control over the board. Our center is strong, cannot be challenged. c4 is met with c5. The only asset for the white player will be these two pawns, and if white can get to push them and then attack our c7 pawn, the backward pawn, then white might be able to give us some trouble. How to respond to that? King to h1 now, the idea of the white player to play f4, challenging this very strong center, is met simply with a3. And now this pawn is protected, we don't have to worry at all. f4 now, simply play e4. It looks like this pawn is kind of lonely and it will be attacked, but the thing is you're going to be able to play pawn to e3 and it's going to be stuck. Bishop e3, for instance, you just play pawn to e3. The bishop will have to move and this pawn is safe. Then you can play queen e4, attacking these pawns, putting pressure and just improving the position of the rooks. Position evaluated -4 or something like that, -5. Rook e1, same thing, you just play e3, you're winning. And in this position, when we played b5, the bishop went to b3. What happens if the bishop goes to c2? It looks like one of the natural squares for the bishop. Also because bishop b3 gave us the possibility to play knight c5 with an attack on the bishop, and we know that we want to give our knight for the light square bishop. So let's play knight to c5 anyway, and after the plan on knight f5, knight h4 and then knight f5, it looks like the white player is interested in not giving up the bishop pair but only taking our bishop pair. And here we go on with the usual plan, a5, knight f5, how to respond to this. Bishop f5. So now we know that when we're playing in this specific setup, when we play the Chigorin and white plays this line, one of these lines, we know that you want to give that bishop for that knight. The pawn takes back, and now b4. We're going to take a pawn. If white takes us, then obviously we take back. We're not winning a pawn, of course, but this is a very advanced pawn, and white cannot play a3. a3 belongs to the black player. Besides, white has a double pawn and an isolated pawn, so yes, white has the bishop pair, but we're actually just better. Think about it, what can white do? There are no moves actually. Bishop b3, that you can make that swap happen. If white plays, let's say, rook b1 attacking the pawn. Knight a4 comes with the idea of going to c3, winning the game. That means we are happy to swap every take and go on the weakness of the a2 pawn. Here there is absolutely nothing for white to do. There's nothing here to do. Let's say queen b5. That's the best move. Putting extra attack over the pawn in d5, meaning that knight c3 is now a threat. If white plays rook to d3, to try and keep hold of this pawn in e4, knight back to c5, attacking on the rook. Rook to d2. Okay, now we can take the pawn in a2. And here again, position evaluated like -4. It's so pleasant for black to play.